How long have you been arm wrestling, Kody?
So it's like 23 years.
Holy shit! Okay.
Yeah,
Wow.
but here's the thing that I can't really. I guess I started 23 years ago. I went through a divorce. Well, I don't even remember how long ago it was, but I took about 9.5 years off because
Okay.
my previous wife didn't appreciate.
Oh my God, we got a lot of parallels. We got a lot of things in common. But go ahead.
So, I mean, I put a lot of effort into it back then. And actually, the first time I ever saw Ryan, I went to Poland for the World Championships in 2001 as well. And you won that day. I took 6th left-handed.
I didn't win. I was in the A side with the Russian. That's man, I don't know. I think I got more bad reffing stories than anybody ever. But this wasn't necessarily reffing. This was draw sheets.
Wait, Bart Wood was reffing the Worlds?
Bart didn't even know what arm wrestling was back then.
Okay.
And that was when I was in the A-side final against Anatoly. And then I ended up getting 4th. That mathematically shouldn't happen. But
yeah,
anyway, go on.
So anyway, so like after about 9.5 years, this month actually is 4 years back training. So in 2015, September 2015, I got back on the table at a first tournament, Idaho State Championship, and then obviously in July, was it July or end of June, that Vegas tournament, Ryan? I think it was the end of June, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So when we first met, I hadn't been back in the sport but like 6 or 7 months of training. So I've gradually gotten, improved a little bit since I got back, but I do have like 23 years in the sport with a little hiatus in the middle for about 9.5 years.
Has your left made a full recovery from the bicep tear?
Yes, I actually think it's probably stronger now than it was before.
Good news.
Yeah, so
good news.
Yeah. It's still atrophied. It doesn't look very pretty. Like my right bicep still looks better, if that's a thing. You have to be able to imagine it through all the fat. But it's a little bit better looking. But the left's still strong. It feels good. And I'm actually right-hand dominant. Yeah. So my left is kind of it just feels. I don't know how to explain it, but like when I arm wrestle left-handed, it just happens. It's natural.
Yeah.
And then right hand, it just feels like it's not supposed to be. Yeah. I don't know if that means anything.
Well, it does. I said that 90% of all men are right-handed, but something like only 65 or 68% are right dominant arm wrestlers, right? So which tells you that a lot of right-handed arm wrestlers are left dominant. Yeah. And I think that comes down to attachment points and stuff. I'm the same way as you. I'm right dominant. My left. Well, all three of us are. I think Ryan's right dominant as well. Well, right-handed.
Yes.
Right? So we're all right-handed that became left-handed dominant. It's not uncommon in the sport. So that's
one of the differences between Ryan and I is like the only reason I bring my right hand to a tournament is so it can hold on to the peg. I really suck right-handed. Where he actually is, he's dominant both hands. He's really strong both hands. I'm not so good right-handed.
Yeah, I'm gonna quickly segue off that because speaking of holding the peg, there was an incident last weekend at a tournament where a fairly novice arm wrestler broke his peg arm. So he was arm wrestling with his right arm, and his left arm broke while holding the peg.
Why do you have a knife in your hand?
Sorry. Sometimes it's a pen, sometimes it's a knife.
Yeah, go on.
Yeah. Good thing I don't own a fucking gun. I shoot my leg off. So he's from Ohio. His first tournament was in Huron. I got in touch with him. I wanted to find out how that happened. His name's Kevin Kirk, and he told me that a couple of weeks prior to that event, he was practice pulling with a guy, and they just went. The other guy was left dominant, so they just went left over and over. And at the end of the tournament, at the end of the practice, he just felt like a numbing kind of like pain in his left arm, and he didn't think anything of it. And of course, it didn't really dissipate. And then a couple of weeks later, he ended up arm wrestling with the right, and his left arm broke. And he told me it was because it was while having that practice session, he had a minor stress fracture of the humerus. So there was kind of, I guess you can say, a slight break or a stress fracture when he applied pressure, and then boom, it broke. But he was in good spirits, and I told him that I'd at least tell the arm wrestling world the reasoning behind it, because if you don't know the reasoning, it sounds very, very odd that an off arm would break by holding the peg.
Kevin Kirk's in the comments right now. He just signed in. He's watching the show right now.
Yeah. Big shout out to him. And I contacted him, and I was impressed because I always said that if I broke my arm or tore something, I'd be gone. Like you'd never see me again. And for someone, especially a newbie, to break his off arm and to still have his spirits up and posting on Facebook that he can't wait to get back after rehab, man, I contacted him. I applauded his courage because frankly, I don't believe I'd do that. And you see it often with arm wrestlers that they can't wait to get back on and rehab and compete again with that arm, and I find that fucking astonishingly weird. But definitely,
my family felt the same way when I tore my bicep. They're like, "Oh, so you're done?" I'm like, "No, I'm not done. No. The thing and people think that, well, why would you arm wrestle if you ripped your bicep off the bone? I'm like, it's actually a pretty common injury in general, just for life. Like, I was at the shooting range one day after with my wrap on my arm, and the guy's like, "What happened?" I told him, he's like, "Oh yeah, my dad broke his arm just catching the dog when it jumped out of the truck, popped his bicep off." So I mean, it's a very common injury, period. So not necessarily for arm wrestlers in general.
Yeah. A couple of weeks ago, I came on and we were talking about arm breaks, and I said that I once tried to initiate one because I know you come back stronger. And although it looks bad, it's not necessarily a bad injury. And then I had a conversation with Megan Elizabeth, her name just popped up right here. She's on her feed listening. And she went through the details, the horrific journey she had rehabbing her arm. And she told me still, after years later, has issues with feeling and nerve issues in that hand, that arm. So after hearing her story, I was like, maybe it's not something I should hope for. She's not necessarily... her story is not the most common, but that's still quite horrific, and I kind of felt bad for her. So I kind of retract that statement on I'd like to break my arm, because I don't think that's necessarily the case when I hear these stories sometimes.
Yeah, I don't ever want to break my arm. That scares the hell out of me, to be honest with you.
Yeah, Megan Elizabeth is making some comments in the feed here. Said it definitely had a hairline stress fracture beforehand, and it has happened similarly to other people, myself included, although usually not just from holding the peg. So that is true. Bill Logsdon, prayer for a quick recovery, brother, to Kevin Kirk. And Peter Mills, it is good to see 3 arm wrestlers with so much class. The mutual respect is obvious. Keep up the great work.
Well, was he watching a different show?
I was going to say,
with class. What are you talking
Jesus. 2 out of 3 ain't bad. I don't think he knows me that well.
Yeah, Peter, you might not. Have you met Chris Gobby?
he actually paid for me to compete in a super match years ago. He paid my hotel. He paid my travel. So he does know me quite well. I don't know. I guess he's just being flattering.
Right. Hey, Kody, this weekend, are there any other super matches happening on the card with you, or is it just you and Corey, and then Corey and Don?
Actually, there's a bunch of them. I want to say there's like 6 or so super matches.
Mike Aiello has one. I know Mike's pulling, I believe.
Actually, I don't think he's coming. He was here last year.
Oh, last year. Sorry. Okay.
Yeah.
Last year he had one.
I want to say Bo Olsen has one.
Yeah.
With who I'm not for sure, and Bill Logston might have one as well. Yeah. But
Bill, if you're in the comments section here, throw us out your match so we can talk about it if you're still there.
Yeah, I know.
All right.
Corey took a couple weeks off because he's coming to this match, and then he's going to go with Michael to the 506 in Atlanta. And when they were talking about what they're doing, I sent a message to, it was actually on Facebook. Michael Todd put something on one of the comments about the match, and I asked him on Facebook, I'm like, hey, Michael, it'd really mean a lot to me if you wouldn't mind cornering me for this super match. And I guess he didn't think it was that funny. I don't know. I thought it was really funny. But
how are your knee joints? Do you have good knee joints? What's the flexibility like in your knee and hip joints?
Well, I wouldn't say I'm very flexible, but they don't hurt at all.
Well, yeah. You're not too old to start learning how to king move, my friend. You're not too old.
Oh, yeah. I don't know if I want to. Every time I've been injured every time I've pulled somebody that does the king's move, I end up getting hurt.
Yeah.
And that's the thing I don't like about the King's move is I don't think it puts as much pressure on the person doing it as the other person like that's trying to defend against it or to beat it.
Mm-hmm.
So
you guys are really critical about just what is simply an open top roll.
Well, I mean, I wouldn't want to say that I don't want the King's move to go away because, I mean, arm wrestling's arm wrestling, and if you're following the rules, then you're following the rules.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it's pretty, but I have a bias because, like, I popped my elbow twice against people doing that, and the last one was in Hawthorne this last April against a guy from Armenia. And I don't know his name, but he had a super match with Beanie a few years ago, left-handed. And he King's moved me, and I tried to transition into a press, and it wasn't really my elbow. It was like further up in my forearm, right in here. It popped, and it just shot like way up into there. And it sucked because it was 2 weeks before Nationals, and I had to go to Nationals with a jacked up arm. But it all worked out in the long run, I guess.
Yeah.
So we got Candy, Withrow, Passmore, Kody versus Corey will probably break the table. Jake Houston is saying it's Bill Logsdon versus Roger Nowatzki.
Yeah, Roger.
And then we have Jacob Jung posted the entire list of information from the Fallen Heroes tournament. So there is like a ton of stuff here, but...
Is that the information you have to fill with?
Yeah, like there's about 3 pages of stuff here. Like number 1, Corey West versus Don Underwood. It's the Top Roll Heavyweight World Championship. That belt still exists. Like Don used to run those tournaments years ago. Kody Spur Merritt versus Corey West, left-handed. Eric Gerlach versus Ryan Clark, right-handed. Bo James Olison versus Sonny Larson. Bill Logsdon versus Devin Bear. Interesting.
Actually, that changed. Devin's hurt.
Okay, so that would be what the correction was there. Okay. Joseph Drelak versus Jonathan Jennings.
Wow.
Be nice, Gobby.
All
Be
right.
nice. Greg Allen versus Caleb Rout. Sorry if I'm mispronouncing your names, guys. It happens. It happens to me all the time. Anyway, Drellick's got a match. I'm happy for him. Let's give him some support. Who do you think's going to win that one, Gobby? Do you know his opponent?
Well, I don't know Jennings at all, but I know Drellick, so I'm going to go with Jennings 4-0. How about that? Does the venue even have handicap parking? Well, anyways.
Oh my God! Joseph Drellick, we support you.
So.
I do anyway.
I'm terrible with names, but if Jennings is who I'm thinking of, he's a local guy here in Kansas City area. He's, I think Drellick's taller than him.
Yeah.
But he's got kind of a reddish blonde hair, and he's freakishly strong. So if it's left-handed, Drellick might have a chance, but I don't know. I think Jennings is pretty good.
Pump the brakes, guys. Jake Houston says the Drellick match isn't happening either. Jake, maybe you can give us an explanation on that one. He just said it isn't happening. And Peter Mills says, speak freely, Gobby, so do not be censored by yours truly.
Okay, Peter, whatever you say. Thanks for the vote of confidence. I'll do that. I won't hold back.
Chuck Bardo, Gobby is the best. Thanks, Chuck. We appreciate your support. Cole Holiday says Jennings is a very solid 154, 165 guy, very well-rounded puller. Well, we're waiting to hear why the match isn't happening because, I mean, this sounds like a really good card, and hopefully it's streamed so we can watch it. Do you know if that's happening?
Yeah, usually Ryan Johnston puts it on his Facebook page. Last year it was on there, so... And maybe Joseph is going to be filming it too because he's there. So I don't know.
Right, and it'll be probably if it's Drellick doing it, he'll do it well edited and
for Christmas. Yeah, for Christmas 2021.
Yeah, he puts a lot of work into his product.
He's a good cat. I'm built to harass. It's how I'm programmed. It's how I'm wired. He's a good cat. He's a good dude.
Okay, Jake doesn't know why they canceled that match.
Yeah. You know who's a badass on that card is Sonny Larson. I met him at Harleypool in 2007, and that dude walked right through Mike Solaris.
Sonny Larson might be the most underrated guy in that class.
When he's out, and you don't see him that often, and he's not very vocal on social media, but when he's, I guess, motivated, man, he's a top 195 dude, 205, 198, whatever you want to call it. Yeah.
The part about that tournament tomorrow that I'm most interested in, other than my super match, is the 230-pound class. They have their belt championship as well, but it's not just a super match; it's the entire class. So, and they're going right and left-handed, and the one who scores the most points, both hands, gets the belt. And there's some big names in that class. There's like some really good arm wrestlers that are going to be there. So I'm excited about that class, actually.
And doesn't he give away like battle axes or something, or hammers? I remember last year he gave away these awesome. I tried to make it down for that event, but it's like 18-hour drive, 17-hour drive. Yeah. Just for the awards, I wanted to kind of make it down.
Yeah, this year for the amateurs he's giving away daggers.
Daggers. Yeah.
And then for the open pro class, it's some sort of an axe, a battle axe.
Yeah.
And then for the overall champs, it's like even a bigger, more like gothic looking axe. It's just crazy. So
why not?
I'm excited about it. It's gonna be there's a good, like in the supers right-handed. There's Don Underwood. There's Corey. Nick Zena's supposed to be there.
Nice.
So I'm gonna be lucky if I even like win a match right-handed.
Oh, you're too hard on yourself. Well, I think you're going to be.
I don't know. Those guys are good. I don't know if you ever heard of Nick Zena, but he's all right.
He's okay. Yeah, I've never arm wrestled Nick. That's a match that, over the years, I am really surprised that we have never run into each other on the table. We've been at the same events, but we've never run into each other. The WAL, we're opposite sides of the bracket. We got confirmation that Drellick's filming it, and it will be Facebook live streams. We had a question from Zach Wall. He says, so are you two both in top 5 super heavyweight left arm in North America?
Yeah, I can confirm they are. I believe they are.
Well, Ryan is, that's for sure.
You're right there, buddy. Yeah.
I don't know. I haven't ever beat Jerry or left-handed. After you beat me in 16, I lost to him. My elbow popped against him in that press. And so there's a couple people that I've never beat. Travis.
You guys had a pull off. I forgot about the way the WL used to do that
for third and fourth. Yeah. So I actually felt like I was pretty strong that day, and I took him right to the pad, but he stopped it, and I got tired, and my elbow popped, and when the restart, he just destroyed me because I had nothing. So
yeah,
I'd like another match with him too. So.
My wife is texting me, telling me to answer her ASAP, but I just told her we're live. Janine Penner says, good morning, gents. Hello, Janine. Janine tunes in for all of our lives, I think.
Yeah. And Ryan, tell your wife she should be happy. No gay slurs for me. She should be content with that. Never mind anyone else.
Well, until just now, anyway.
Until just now. You just made one. So, Zach Wall says it's got to be top 5 left in his weight class. I assume he means North America.
Fuck yes. 165 or 154, absolutely. Hell yes. Yeah, I've also never lost to Jerry Caderet or Travis Bagent left, so I got a nice
that's
resume.
True. Yeah,
you are a bad dude, guy.
I have never lost left-handed match to Denis Zaplankov.
Me either.
Yeah. Bryce Talton. I would love a left-handed super match with Kody Spur Merritt in a few months or so. That sounds like a challenge.
You know what, Bryce and I have pulled, I want to say 2 or 3 times at wall tournaments, and he's, every time we've arm wrestled, he's had a hell match just before it. So it really hasn't been very fair for him, for me to say that I've never lost to him, because he's been blown up every time we've arm wrestled.
That's tournament pulling, man.
Yeah. He's really come along in the last, I want to say, year. He's been really just wrecking people. He's fast. He's got a good top roll. I'd be interested in that match as well. He's a good dude. I like Bryce a lot.
There you got it, bro. You have it, Bryce. I think that match could get put together.
Yeah.